Today, we're going to check out the podgo.
Be aware and notice what's going on when your dog pees with excitement.
What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Taylor and I do all sorts of guitar related stuff like this on my channel. If that's something you enjoy, make sure to subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of my uploads. Today, I have a pretty special video. This piece of gear gets requested more than any other piece of gear on my channel. I think it's really awesome and I don't take it for granted at all that you guys want my opinions when new gear comes out, but this one was kind of hard to get a hold of for some reason. I've had to order it 3 different times from 3 different vendors, and what happened was they kept putting me on back order because apparently these are made overseas and the production could not keep up with the demand. I thought it was kind of interesting that I bought it from multiple sellers that said they were in stock when in fact they were pre-orders. But that's a tangent for another video. So anyways, let's go grab this thing. So what I thought I'd do, since there's been so much interest in this piece of gear on my channel, is do a quick unboxing, and I will actually use it like a pedal board this time. That way you can hear any delays between patch changes and, you know, the way that the expression pedal works or whatever. I know that's something I don't often do that I get a lot of requests to do as well, so we'll make sure to do that in this video as well, but let's open this guy up. And there it is. My first impressions on, just the box is this thing is way bigger than I thought it was gonna be. If you're into really tiny pedals, that might be kind of a bummer. Okay, so straight away, we have a 9-volt power supply. They made the same mistake that they made with the 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃. This drives me nuts, man.
These fucking things should be banned. Have these, not these.
Look at the ferrite on that cord, Jesus. If you're not aware, ferrite is used to reduce noise like radio frequencies and stuff like that in electric lines, so it's kind of interesting that they have such a massive piece of ferrite on the power cable here. I will note that this was not sealed, so it could be that this adapter isn't the original one that came with the unit, I'm not sure, but this drives me crazy. This is like old school Nintendo. I just don't understand how these cheaper Chinese floor modelers can get the adapter right, but a company like Line 6 can't. And I know that might seem like a silly pet peeve to people, but when you're trying to plug this thing into a power strip at a venue, or you're trying to plug it into a power conditioner in a rack or something like this, these things are super annoying. It's just a hassle that you don't want to have to deal with when you're in a situation like that. So that's what bothers me about them. Moving on here. Some foamies. Oh wow. The moment I'm sure all of you are waiting for, as well as me. Ah, very cool. Right away I can tell you the build is super solid. The whole chassis is made out of metal. Everything feels really, really good. Everything is of the caliber that you would expect from a company like Line 6. I'm really surprised at the size of this. I did not think that this was going to be this big.
That's what she said. Or he said.
And what I think is really cool about this, without even having to plug it in, is this is actually really useful for a live scenario. One of the things that kind of drives me nuts with other units like the 𝗵𝗲𝗃 or the GE200 is they insist on putting an expression pedal on it, although the expression pedal's like that big and it's not very usable, especially, on stage or something like that. But with this, that's not an issue. So I'm already thinking, if this has the same internal components as the Helix and the 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃, or it, sounds as good as those units, this could be a really, really good entry into the world of Line 6's Helix technology if you're on a budget and you still want something that you can use live, that has foot switches and an expression pedal. And then on the back of the unit here, this is where this kind of suffers. You have a guitar input, an expression pedal input if you want a second expression pedal. You have an effects loop that says it's stereo, so I'm assuming these are actually like TRS balanced input and outputs. You have your main outputs, which are mono, left and right. You have an amp out, which my guess is this bypasses the cab IRs, which is kind of cool if you still want to be able to use your stereo outs with cab IRs and then be able to run this directly to an amp. And then you have a headphone output and a power switch. Power switches are always good. I'm always pretty surprised when pieces of gear don't have power switches. It seems like a necessity, over an expression pedal, but what do I know? Okay, so now that we've unboxed this thing and looked it over, let's plug it in and see what it sounds like. Okay, so I have the podgo hooked up here, and we are recording the signal directly out of the podgo, meaning all of the sounds that you hear are coming from this unit. I'm not using an external cab IR or anything like that. Let's turn it on. Pretty cool little pod silhouette there. And it gives you the website for how-to videos. Pretty useful. Here's the first patch that loaded up. Now what's cool about this is it's similar to the Helix in the fact that you can assign different effects blocks to these foot switches on the front of the unit. Let's go ahead and start dialing in something from scratch. So on the cabinet section, we have a Kali 4x12V30. I'll keep that. I actually like that cabinet. Okay, we're going to switch the amp over, and let's do one of the Rev amps. I really like these. We'll go with the Rev Gen Red. So it looks like there's a little bit more limitations with the Podgo than there is the traditional line of Helix products. Instead of having your traditional blocks that you can assign any effects to, it's a little bit more like a 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗃 GE product or even the 𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀 in the way that it has certain pre-assigned blocks like the amp and the cabinet, and then there are separate effects blocks that you can assign any effect to. Let's dial this in real quick and add a noise gate to catch some of that noise. I wonder if you can just add a gate on the input, much like the 𝗬𝗃𝗀𝗃 or the Helix, which is awesome because then it doesn't take up one of your effects blocks. Okay, let's keep dialing this guy in. I know a lot of people are going to be interested on whether or not this sounds as good as the Helix line of products, and as far as I can tell right now, it sounds exactly the same. There might be a little bit of limited functionality, which is to be expected from this lower price point product. If you'd like to see it shot out with something like the 𝗬𝗃𝗀𝗃, let me know down in the comments below and I can make that video happen. I knocked my guitar out of tune there a little bit. Let's see how well the tuner works. So the tuner is essentially the same tuner that you have in the Helix or the 𝗬𝗃𝗀𝗃, and it's really responsive and it works really well. Okay, let's throw in some effects on this guy. And the first effect I always like to add is a boost. Big surprise. And it looks like these are all the same boosts that are in the 𝗬𝗃𝗀𝗃 or the Helix. There are quite a bit of them. I really like this Alpaca Rogue with this amp. So we'll go with that one. And we will set it up into boost mode there. Oh, I have this on volume pan. And we want it on volume pedal. Actually, let's move this guy back to after the amp block there. What's really cool about this pedal is it's actually large enough to be useful on a floorboard, and it feels pretty decent, but it does come with an Allen wrench if you want to adjust it, make it a little bit tighter or looser depending on your playstyle. But it's super responsive, and I think it feels pretty good, especially considering this unit is only $500. 550, something like that. So it doesn't appear that you can split your signal to do dual amps or stereo routing or anything like that. So that might be a bummer to some people since it doesn't have the same functionality as the Helix or the 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗶. But if you're not using stereo effects and you're not doing dual amps or anything like that, I think it's fine. Okay, what do I want to add in here? Let's go with the pitch shifter. Oh, here we go. Okay. Bypass control. So essentially, if you're using a function like the whammy and you want to use the expression pedal to control it, but you don't want to turn the wah pedal on and off, you could just simply bypass it, unlike the 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗶 or something where you could just delete the block. Let's go over to this guy here, and we're going to change this one to expression toe, so that way when we press the toe switch, it turns the pedal on and off, and we can use it as a whammy. Right now I have my expression pedal in volume mode, and it's working as a volume pedal. And then if I press the toe switch down, it is turning the pitch whammy on, and the wah pedal is completely bypassed. So. Double whammy. Okay, that's kind of silly, but I do get asked that question a lot, and it does look like this has the same functionality as something like the Helix that allows you to assign different effects and parameters to the pedal function. You just have to remember that the volume and the wah is automatically assigned to the expression pedal by default, and if you don't want to use those functions, you need to bypass them. So let's see if there's any lag when you switch between functions here. So we're gonna go in here and press mode. That's gonna turn our foot switches red, and this is going to allow us to quickly change between presets. So just like every pod I can remember, there are A, B, C, and D presets in each bank, and then you can bank up and down. So let's say I was playing live and I quickly want to switch between presets. I could set up all the different presets that I have for a song in a bank, and then I can quickly use this mode to just switch between them. Let's see if there's any lag. It's really minimal and pretty much what I would expect from any floor modeler, so, you know, not bad. Let's add in some delay and reverb. There are a lot of different delays to choose from on this unit, just like the other Line 6 products, but I really like the analog echo delay. I like that one. Okay, let's add in a reverb here. Quite a bit of reverbs as well. Let's do 𝗀𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗃. It's a pretty intense reverb. Let's searchlights? What's this? Man, those trails go on for a really long time. I like that one. I think that one sounds pretty good. Now let's assign the different effects to the foot switches so that way we can see the functionality there. Press that, and we're gonna go into the bypass control. We'll do that one to foot switch 1, and then we will do this one to foot switch 2. You can also press the learn button here and just press the foot switch that you want to assign it to. I'm gonna change the mode. And there it is. So now we have our reverb on foot switch 1, we have our echo on foot switch 2, and those can be bypassed. And then our drive was automatically assigned to foot switch 6 by default, so. Okay, so after playing with this thing, here are my thoughts on it. I think that if you really want the functionality of like one of the Helix products, you know, being able to build crazy stereo chains or doing the dual amp and stuff like that, this is not gonna do the trick for you. However, if you build more basic effects chains and you're not using a ton of different effects and you're not doing like any crazy routing or anything like that, I think that this definitely fits the bill, and it really occupies a special space in the line of Helix products. For example, this is about the same price as an HX Stomp, which is a really tiny compact unit, but has a lot of the same functionality and features that the Helix has, but the HX Stomp doesn't have an expression pedal and it doesn't have as many foot switches, so if you're using it like in a live scenario, it's really, really limited. And that's where the Podgo kind of shines. It's got that really simple, easy to use interface that you're used to from other Line 6 products, but it still has 8 foot switches on the front and an expression pedal. And since it has an effects loop, you can use it in a wide variety of configurations if you want to use it on like a pedal board, for example, or in conjunction with an actual amplifier using the 4-cable method. And you still have all the great effects and amps that you would have in the Helix line of products, so I think this is a big win for Line 6, and I'm really surprised with this thing. To be honest with you guys, the only reason that I reviewed the Podgo is because I got such an overwhelming amount of comments asking me to review it. It's not something that I was really excited about when they made the announcement, because to me it just seemed like they were making another product to fill a gap in their pricing structure. But after playing with it, I really get what they're trying to do here, and I really get the kind of customer that they were trying to satisfy with this product, and I think they did a really great job with it. Alright, what do you guys think about the Podgo? Is there anything specifically that you'd like to see me do with this unit? Let me know down in the comments below. Special thanks to my patrons. And if you'd like to support my channel, there's a link to my Patreon account in the description below. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for me. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.